Hello everyone, I am Lost in Place, and I have a very serious topic I want to discuss. This is definitely different from my normal videos, I know, so if you're not interested in hearing, please by all means click away, you don't have to listen. But I felt like I wanted to share my story of where I was and what I felt when 9/11 occurred. Now, I know a lot of my subscribers, not all of you are American, and I don't think that matters. 9/11 affected the entire world as we know it. What occurred on those days and the days following, the years following, has really changed the landscape of the world as we know it. But I'm not going to get into the politics behind that. That's, for you guys to discuss in the comments section if you like. What I want to talk about is where I was and what I thought when 9/11 went down. So, just a little backstory. At the time, in 2001, I was 24 years old. I was kind of in between careers. I'd finished school, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was single at the time, and I decided, more or less on a whim, that I just wanted to get out of New Jersey. That is where I had been born and raised for 24 years. I lived in New Jersey. It's a great state, but I needed something different. I needed to kind of cut loose, and just go nuts. And with that, I decided to move to Cocoa Beach, Florida. So I moved there September 1st, 2001. And I went down there with no one. I was single. I went down there solo, not knowing a single person within 1,000 miles, which is pretty... I think about it now, and I kind of like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I'm really glad that I did. It was the 5 best years of my life. And I surf a lot. So that was the main motivation behind the move. Cocoa Beach and the east coast of Florida has some very good surf. And I moved down there. I got a job at a fine dining restaurant, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I had a condo. I was about a block from the beach. It was paradise. It was great. So on to the day of. Now, most days that I worked evenings. So I always got up early, and first thing you do is you go to the beach. You check the waves. You see if there are waves to surf on. And on this particular morning, I went down, and there were no waves. It was flat. So I decided, I'm going to go back and go to bed. But for some reason, on this day, I didn't go to my bedroom and lay in my bed. I decided to go on my couch in the family room and turn on the TV, and I fell back asleep with the TV on. I don't know why I did that. I don't normally do that, but on this day, I'm kind of glad that I did, because otherwise I would have slept through it all. So I'm deep in sleep, and when you're sleeping with a TV on, sometimes the sounds of the TV penetrate your dreams, and that's what happened. I missed the very beginning. When I actually woke up and realized what was going on was right after the second plane had hit. And I'm starting to open my eyes up, look at the TV screen, and I'm seeing this building with smoke pouring out, and I'm like, this has got to be a movie. This has got to be some sort of weird movie. And I slowly came to the realization that it wasn't. This was actually happening. Then panic starts to set in. I've got family all over the New Jersey, New York area. So I grab my cell phone, I start calling everyone, and my phone's not working. I had a cell phone still based out of New Jersey, so service was down. So right there, I'm freaking out. Thankfully I don't have any direct family living in centers in downtown New York, but of course you're still worried. I didn't hear from the family until much later in the day, so that added to the panic of the moment. And as I'm watching, they're showing replays of the planes hitting the second plane. They didn't come up with the replay of the first plane, I guess, until days later. But it was really unbelievable because they were just receiving different videos, and they didn't even have time to edit them. This is network TV, and people are dropping the F-bombs, screaming, and it's just surreal. It really was just... I think back now, and it really didn't even sink in what had happened until days later. It just seemed like not real. How could this be happening? As the day wore on, details came out that finally made it clear that this was not coincidence, this was not an accident, that this was a coordinated attack on the United States of America. And I felt I was so angry. I mean, I still am angry, but at the time I was infuriated because you didn't know who did it, you didn't know why they did it, you didn't know how it could happen. How could this be allowed to happen? How could we not have seen this coming? Once it started, how could we not have stopped it? But that's the nature of the beast. We'll never really know. There's so many damn conspiracy theories, and I don't believe in any of that nonsense. But nonetheless, it is very curious as to how this was allowed to occur. But I am getting off track, and back to my personal story. Eventually, about 2 hours in, I finally did get a hold of my mom, and of course she's a nervous wreck, and she was worrying about me all the way down in Florida, and I'm the farthest away from it all. So that is pretty much that. The next 4 or 5 days, all I did was sit in front of the television and watch, waiting for more information, because that's all it was people speculating. No one knew what happened. Al-Qaeda, no one ever heard of Al-Qaeda. Who the hell is Osama bin Laden? At the time prior to this, I really didn't even have a clue about the Middle East. I didn't pay attention to any of that. I can't believe that someone would hate us that much to go to that extent, to cause that much damage. But my eyes are open now, I'll tell you. It's really a very huge tragedy. And even if you're not an American, you must kind of sympathize and kind of understand that the people that would do such a thing are against everything that humans stand for, and that is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom to do whatever the fuck I want to do. But they don't want to have that, and they lashed out at us. And that's really it. I don't want to get too much into my personal feelings, because I'm sure I'll piss off a lot of people, but, that's what it is. So that's my story. That's where I was on 9/11 10 years ago today. Right now it's 1 a.m. on 9/11. And I do want to just, say a prayer tonight. I'm going to say a prayer tonight for all those who perished, for all the family members of those who perished. And God forbid, I really hope that something like this never happens again, and never happens to anyone, whether it be Americans, Russians, British, whoever. It doesn't matter. This was just a horrendous, horrendous thing. So I appreciate you letting me vent. It definitely feels a little better that I've gotten this off my chest, and we should really take some time today to reflect on what went down, if you can. If maybe you don't give a shit, well, I feel sorry for you. If you don't give a shit, I really do feel sorry for you. And if you want to share your story of where you were on 9/11 when you heard, please comment below. I may do a follow-up video if there are some interesting stories about where you were when this went down. And I know this wasn't my most entertaining video. It wasn't meant to be. I just am grateful that I have an audience, a YouTube audience, who will listen, when I have these kinds of things to talk about. So, thanks again, guys. No Booster Busters, no comedy for the next 24 hours. And come Monday, we'll get back to business as usual. But for the next 24 hours, all 9/11 victims and family members, you're in my prayers and in my heart. God bless America. I'm Lost in Place. Thanks for listening.